Hey, what's up my fellow trumpet players? In this video, we're going to talk about how to properly play taps. We're going to talk about what taps is, how to properly play it, how to sound the best you could possibly be when sounding taps, and we're going to also talk about some common mistakes I hear when I hear other trumpet players play taps. And all they ask in exchange for these free gems of wisdom is that you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel with notifications on so that you never miss any new trumpet content. And if you watch this video all the way to the very end, I'm going to tell you a very terrible joke. Alright, without any further ado, let's just get right into the video. So what is taps? Taps is a ceremonial bugle call that symbolizes a few different things. So one of the things that it symbolizes is the end of the day, or lights out. If you ever go to a military installation where they sound the bugle calls, taps is usually played at the very end of the day, and it's usually the last bugle call that you'll hear. And it symbolizes the end of the day, and it symbolizes lights out. But what taps is most famously known for is that it's used as an honor for fallen soldiers in the military, as well as important government officials like the President of the United States. You'll often hear taps at funerals for these types of people. And during military holidays such as Veterans Day, Memorial Day especially, you'll often hear taps played as part of the ceremony, whether it's a solo bugler or if it's two buglers playing an echo version of the bugle called taps. So in my opinion, in the trumpet world, taps is one of the most rewarding gigs you could possibly play, just for the symbolism behind it, for honoring fallen soldiers, for honoring people who've died for the country. It's one of the most rewarding gigs you could possibly play on the trumpet, but that's just my opinion. So now let's talk about how to properly play taps. So first of all, you need to take your time when playing taps. You need to play it slowly. You want it to be as long and drawn out as possible. There's no such thing as playing taps too slowly, but you definitely don't want to rush it. You don't want to end it too quickly. So just general tips. Take your time, play it slowly, especially with the rests. Take your time during rests. And during the piece, just focus on playing with a clean, beautiful sound. And for taps, I would not use vibrato at all. Okay, let's talk about the framework of taps. So taps only consists of a few notes. It consists of G, C, E, and G. And this is because the bugle, which is taps is originally played on, is an earlier model of the trumpet that there were no valves on the horn. So because there were no valves, the instrument was just limited to the harmonic series. So bugle calls, you only hear a couple of notes. The open notes in the harmonic series is what you hear, and on a B-flat trumpet, those notes would be G, C, E, and then G on top of the staff. Now looking at the sheet music of taps, let's talk about the rhythm. So there's a couple of sustained notes in taps that we need to hold out for as long as what makes musical sense. So there's no rules really to this, but we just want to hold it out and sustain it for as long as we can and really make the moment last as long as possible, because it's kind of like a moment of silence in the musical world sounding taps. So as you can see in the sheet music where I labeled the fermatos, these are the notes that you need to hold out for as long as is stylistically appropriate. So after some of these fermatos, we need to add a little bit of silence just to break up the phrases a little bit, and also just to give us a moment to relax, take a fresh breath for the next phrase. But these breaks in the phrases kind of add to the music. It kind of adds to that whole moment of silence vibe that we're going for with the taps. So like I said, we really want to take our time with this piece, and we want to make sure that we're not rushing into the next phrase too soon, and we want to really take our time with these breaks. Now let's talk about the first two phrases of taps. So let's talk about the rhythm for the first two phrases. Now the rhythm on this, we want to think of the first note as 3 beats, the second note as 1 beat, and then the fermata at the end is a fermata, it's just a sustained note. But we want to make sure that we give the right proportions to these notes. Something often that I hear is that some people will rush this second note. It was kind of like ba ba ba. So we want the second note to have a little more length than that. I like to proportion it as 3 beats for the first note, 1 beat for the second note, and then the fermata is sustained. So it'll sound like this. Ba ba ba. And then you hold that last note out. And after the fermatas for both of these phrases, we want to make sure that there's silence and space after both of these phrases. Like I said, just to break it up, add that moment of silence kind of vibe, and also just to give our time to relax and think about the next phrase. Now for this third phrase, we need to be a little bit more rhythmic, especially if it's echo taps, because in this phrase, the other bugler needs to be able to follow us in this. So this one, it's a little more rigid. Ba, ba, ba. Ba 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 ba, and then we hold that last note out stylistically as long as we can. And like I said, this needs to be rigid in case we're doing echo taps and there's another bugler a couple 100 feet away that needs to listen and follow us, is so that we can sync that up. So for this fourth phrase going up to the high G, it's pretty much the same rhythm as the first two phrases. Now after the high G, there's two things you can do. You can go right into the next phrase with no space, or you can take just a little bit of space, just take a quick breath and go into the next phrase. Both ways in my eyes are acceptable, but we don't want it to drag on for too long, this one particular rest. Now for this fifth phrase, this descending motion right here, the rhythm is a little bit different. It goes E, C, G. So we need to treat this rhythm as equal length half notes, the E and the C, and then sustain the G for as long as is stylistically appropriate. Now after that G, you're really going to take advantage of that silence, and then the last phrase is exactly the same as the first one, and hold that final note out for as long as it's stylistically appropriate. Alright everyone, I hope you enjoyed this video, hope you found value of how to properly play taps, and if you want more information about how to play trumpet better and how to play with a better sound and with less effort, I have a free class. There's a link in the bio and a link in the first comment, that pinned comment, to take you to that free class. And once again, don't forget to hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel with notifications on so you never miss out on more trumpet content. Now if you want some more trumpet content, check out this next video on double tonguing secrets, some secrets on how to double tongue better. Check it out.